We officially start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will you please stand?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thanks for being here today. I now declare this meeting of May the 13th, 2019 open. And we'll start immediately with the agenda. Board, you've had a copy of the meeting minutes from May the 8th, 2019 for your review. Do I have a motion for consideration of approval?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item number C, presentations.
Regular session minutes.
We did that.
We just
Oh,
did
we
this.
just did that.
Yes,
I
we
thought
did.
we did
I hear
the
you.
agenda. I'm sorry.
I understand we have Andy Dickerson here today of Cardinal Land Conservancy, Natural Resources Assistant Counsel for NRAC. Podium's yours, sir.
Is there a visual aid?
There is.
Touch B.
Hey,
Yeah.
By magic.
B, is that for Board of County?
No, B is for black and bring it back black.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all. Boy, this is a big crowd. I might want to stay for the rest of this meeting.
They all came for you.
Oh, this is awesome. So, I didn't bring enough of these, but I did want to share these. If you could pass those down. So, we're Cardinal Land Conservancy. I don't know if you can pass those around too. You'll see right there on the cover, I came before you guys last year seeking a resolution of support for a grant application. And it's part of the Clean Ohio Fund that the voters put in a bond issue back in 2000. And it was continued 8 years later, and it's in a continuance now by an appropriations bill. So it's a bipartisan supported way to protect green space in Ohio. We are in a district with Clermont County, Clinton County, Warren County, and Butler County, and it's competitive for protecting green space. You'll see on the cover of the newsletter that you see, we finally closed on a old growth forest in northeast Clermont County that's got swamp white oak, red maple, and beech trees that have never been cut, and it's a wet swamp forest, and it's just amazing. So we're going to start to make some improvements on that and get it ready. We're working with Wilmington College and UC Clermont to do some studies, and we hope to continue that trend as we look to protect green space in the area. So a little bit about Cardinal. So we are a land trust. We're kind of like those of you that have heard of the Nature Conservancy. We're like them, but right in your backyard. We do it in Southwest Ohio, and we do it in 7 counties. We're not in Butler County because they have Three Valley Conservation Trust, and they do a lot of similar things. So we pride ourselves on working where other people don't. The majority of our land holdings are conservation easements. We protect ag land, and through the state, the same program, Clean Ohio has a green space program, and they have an agricultural program. And working with the Ohio Department of Agriculture, we work with families that want to protect their farm forever from being subdivided and split up and sold off to purchase conservation easements on them. So more recently, we've started getting into green space protection. Oh, there's another map that talks about our councils. Sorry, we've got an active corps of volunteers. We're working on increasing our membership. So those of you that like what we do, go to cardinallandconservancy.org and become a member. We need members. In our mission, I kind of explained it, but preserving natural habitats, waterways, and productive lands we love in Southwest Ohio, working with people just like you. What we're looking to do and seeking a resolution of support, again, it's a requirement of the Clean Ohio program for when a nonprofit gets involved that we need a resolution of support. If it's a branch of county government, then they just need to notify you guys and the township. As a private nonprofit, we have to get a resolution of support to apply or to receive funds. This is a property off of 132. It's about 150 acres. It's got scenic views and we are working with two different landowners to seek to purchase the property and turn it into a nature preserve and passive hiking trail. That's the air photo from last year and what it looks like. The spot in the middle is not going to be purchased. That was carved out a long time ago as a homestead area. But you'll see the part to the south, the bottom of the picture, is 12 Mile Creek. And it has a half a mile of frontage on 12 Mile Creek. And there's also a lot of steep slopes on this. And that's important because it's a priority for Clean Ohio Green Space Program to protect steep slopes. So you'll have to excuse my voice. I was out hiking Saturday on one of our other nature preserves, and the pollen is crazy this time.
Pollen is crazy, yes.
So there's some of the advantages of this property and why it ranks out for our board. We have 11 people on our board that choose to act on properties, and this one has great views. We're working more and more on protecting the Ohio River Valley, the steep slopes, the creek frontage, and also looking into local zoning in Ohio Township zoning. They actually call out that these specific slopes and these steep hillsides, 90% of those across the township should be protected. So we're fitting right into what local zoning is wants to see. Just a couple photos from up on high. You can see the river, but in the winter, because there is quite a bit of tree cover there. So it is a very scenic and beautiful place. 12 Mile Creek, it is also very scenic. Because of the high flows, there's not a lot of in-stream habitat, but you can see I'm kind of pointing to what's called it's a water penny. So it's a macroinvertebrate that is an indicator of high oxygen, which indicates good water quality. So that close to the Ohio River having good water quality in 12 Mile Creek is a good thing. And just trying to capture a little bit of the steep slopes. So what you'll see is in part of the request, according to a state certified appraiser, looking to appraise the property, or both properties, the total project costs are at $2.358 million, and our request is $1.768. So there's a minimum of 25% donated back in match through a bargain sale by the landowners. So they are kind of conservation minded and wanting to give back. And they are giving Cardinal a donation over and above that so we can steward the property and take care of it in perpetuity.
Explain that just for my edification. When it talks about a give back, is that the property owner just reducing the price based on that, or is that actual a cash donation give back?
So, both. As part of the grant, there's a 25% match requirement.
Okay.
So we have to bring money to the table. It can be in the form of a bargain sale. So it can be land value or timber value.
Okay. So you can bring that timber value. We're not talking about having to write a certified cashier's check for that 20%.
That's right. No.
Okay.
As long as it is done by ODOT approved appraiser, then a bargain sale and reduced to sale amount can count as the match for the grant.
Okay, so in other words, if I have, and just for talking points, not to belabor the point, but if I have a $1.6 million appraisal and I agree to 20% less than that, that's my give back.
25%.
25%, okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
And these landowners are willing to voluntarily give a cash donation to Cardinal to help us. We recently became a nationally accredited land trust. So we are accredited through, it's a separate organization from the Land Trust Alliance. And we've just been working 2 years to become accredited, and we meet the high standards to be able to do that. So we're one of only 5 land trusts in Ohio to be accredited. So because of that and our governance and our finances, we've set up separate funds for operations and stewardship. And they're going to donate back to those funds to help us take care of the property. Because when we get in, we're in forever. Just all the folks that we work with. We work with a lot of different funds. We work with the Nature Center, ODA, Clean Ohio, you know, the governor's new fund coming down the pike. I'm involved with the Coalition of Ohio Land Trusts on the steering committee, and there's a $900 million fund that we may have access to down here called H2 Ohio. So it's all about water quality. Lake Erie will get half of that, 24 counties that drain the Lake Erie. The Ohio River Drainage will get the other half of the funds. So, that's it for my presentation.
Andy, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Last fall, the Rinsky Nature Preserve,
Yes,
that was designated by the ODNR as a natural landmark for the timber.
that's right.
Is there anything on this property that has been designated by ODNR as being unique to the area?
So ODNR has identified quite a few endangered and threatened species that are within a 1 mile radius of the property. But because they can't survey every property, we don't know if they're on site until we survey it ourselves. The majority of the species used to be in 12 Mile Creek. They're freshwater mussels and fish. And we think they're in there, but we don't know. ODNR has identified them as being in a 1 mile area.
Okay.
But nothing, that designation from Rinsky is rare. You don't
Right.
just see the natural landmarks everywhere. But this, with the scenic views, and we have a strict protocol of conservation criteria we have to follow, and it fits our conservation criteria.
And what about the public access to the property? How's that going to work?
So public access, it's not mandatory under Clean Ohio. When what we'd like to do is one day get there. It'll be on the south off of 12 Mile Road. There's a driveway that goes up, and that's going to be where we're going to need to eventually make a couple parking spaces, and that's where our trailhead will start from.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this piece of property. This is in Ohio Township. It's very close to me. This is the Ubel Farm,
That's right.
and it has two accesses. It has one off of State Route 132 and then one off of 12 Mile Creek. 12 Mile Creek was the original access
That's right,
to the
and we
property.
don't intend on using the 132 at all.
Okay, you're
Just
planning
12
on
Mile.
using the old 12 Mile
That's
Creek?
right.
Because the 132 goes with the parcel in the center that
That's right.
left out.
Correct. That stays with the, is it 9.3 acres request?
I think
I think that's.
whatever they pulled
I
out.
think I read that. Well, thank you. Any other questions, board? Clarifications?
Nope. So part of it's the Ubel Farm, part of it is what, who's the other owner?
Well, it's owned by Cindy Castle, the
Okay.
big piece, and the other is Woody Ubel.
Okay,
So that's her brother-in-law.
okay, very good.
Yep. All righty. Thank you.
Thanks.
Tom, do you want to do introduction of personnel?
So we have some new employee introductions, so we can start with Office of Environmental Quality.
No card there. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is Kevin Lay. He is the new project manager. He's replacing my old position that I held before Paul Brosh retired. He's going to be the project manager, so he'll be doing a lot of work in the watershed, in the East Fork of the Little Miami River watershed, doing water monitoring and participating in our different efforts in the watershed to reduce pollutant runoff. And he has a background, he graduated from the University of Cincinnati with environmental studies and a minor in biology. He lives in New Richmond, so he's a resident of the county. He previously worked with the Ohio Department of Agriculture on the Asian Longhorn Beetle program. He was their QC manager there. And then he's also worked with ORSANCO, which is the Ohio River Valley Sanitation Commission. So he's got a lot of experience, and we're happy to have him. And we have 2 tire collection events this week, so I'm hoping not to scare him off and to keep him around.
Good,
Welcome.
welcome.
And Department of Job and Family Services, we have several here today. Is it Shania?
Morning.
Morning.
I get the pleasure of introducing some new hires. A couple of them are in some different divisions. So want to introduce Sean Bailey. He was hired as a computer operator too in the child support division. And he joins us from Hamilton County Child Support, so he does have a lot of experience with the child support and the regulations and stuff. So, and then next we have Elaine Thomas. She was hired as a clerical specialist in the Public Assistance Division. She has over a decade of experience working in the administrative customer service type care role. Her most recent job was a project coordinator at 7 Multi-Site Solutions. She enjoys volunteering and organizing fundraisers to assist people and organizations that are in need. And next we have Teresa Warden. She was hired as an income maintenance worker 3 in the Public Assistance Division, and she studied criminal justice and psychology in college. She was previously employed with Dreyer Physical Therapy, where she worked at the front desk as a front desk coordinator, and she has 10 plus years of a related work experience working with the public. And then last but not least is Suzanne McQuitty. She too was also hired as an income maintenance worker 3 in the Public Assistance Division, and she earned her bachelor's in psychology from Mount Vernon Nazarene University. She has a background working in mental health care management, direct care of individuals with developmental disabilities, community health education with Humana, and most recently she worked at workforce development specialist with Easter Seals. So we were really happy to get them. There's a lot of work to do at Job and Family Services, as you know, so we're really pleased to have them.
Good.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to Clermont County.
Gretchen?
And I'm Gretchen with Family and Children First, and I have Angela Gully here with me today, and she was hired as a new wraparound facilitator for Family and Children First, so they do the direct line work with the families, working with families and children with very intense needs. A little bit about Angie. She's a proud mom of a teenage son and a pre-teenage son, so lots of good experience there. And she furthered her education in computer information systems and paralegal studies. And then she worked in the field of developmental disabilities, which is one of the agencies that we work with, for 11 years and really enjoyed that work. And she looks forward to working with our children and families to help them achieve their goals. So we're very happy to have Angie.
Now she did say a teenager and a pre-teenager, right? Yes. My condolences.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Some of the worst years.
Well, good morning. I'm Tim Dick with Children's Protective Services. I'm happy to introduce to you Leanne DeSauer. Leanne joined us in December of 2018. She's been in some initial training during that time. Leanne comes to us after a 28 years career as an electrical engineer. Leanne has a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in criminal justice, so we're really happy to have Leanne as part of our team.
Very nice.
I only have one question. Electrical engineer with those 2 degrees? How did that happen?
Really ran its course.
That's a good play.
I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And the building inspection part, Karen.
Karen Swartz, Building Inspection Department. This is Maya Rose. She recently joined our office. She is grew up in Madeira, attended the University of Cincinnati and got a degree in anthropology, and she started with us last month. She is extremely organized and talented, and we are just happy to have her because we processed over 500 permits last month, so we're just busy as can be, and I think she probably filed every one of those permits in her first day, so we're just happy to have her with us. There's a calm that has come over the office since she's been there, so we're just happy to have her with us. So.
Yay.
And she lives in Milford, so she's a resident of the county.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome.
Water Resources, Lyle.
I'm Lyle Bloom with the Water Resource Department, and I have Josh Hicks this morning to introduce. He's an Operator 1 at our PUB water treatment plant. Josh is originally from New Richmond. He went to New Richmond High School, currently lives in Manchester. He's a U.S. Navy veteran. Prior to coming to work for the county, he was a power plant operator where he converted landfill gas to energy. And we're happy to have him. We need operators, so great to have him on board.
Yes, sir.
Josh, welcome. Once a lion, always a lion.
I warned him.
CTC, John?
Morning.
John Raymond with Clermont Transportation Connection. And I have with me today Tim Colony, also affectionately known as Curly, he tells me. And
I can see that.
yeah. And he's a non-CDL, and he's going to train up to get his CDL. He lives in the county. He lives in Bethel. He previously worked at Belterra, and he drove their shuttle bus and decided that this is something that he'd like to continue doing. He also worked originally as a computer operator, and he did that for 34 years on mainframes. And so I don't know how he got to shuttle operator from mainframes, but we're really happy to have him. So he's got a great attitude. He's excited to be here, and so good.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming.
And finally, we have our introduction of our new dog warden, who was appointed a couple weeks ago, but he was out of town training, so we wanted to have him in as formal introduction.
Hi, I'm Steve Hood, on the board of the Clermont County Animal Humane Care Society. And I want to introduce our new dog warden, Dustin Goodman. He was way at training, like you said earlier when you did it, but he'll bring, he knows animal control function. He's going to be great for the dog wardens to bring us some consistency with the dog wardens. He understands the vision of the board and our ideas and desires. He also understands all the enforcement and animal control rules that he has to maintain and take care of for the county. He has strong leadership skills. He has a decade of senior management and vice president positions before coming here. He will be a good addition to Clermont County.
Thanks for coming.
Very good. Thank you.
You can get a picture.
We can stand
We'll just
here.
stand here.
We can
Yep.
just stand here.
We'll stand back row. Back row elevated.
It's okay.
Right here in front.
Right up in front, because there's,
Well, all right.
probably gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to be on the
Turn on a
side.
slant, and then you can all kind of fit in.
Yeah,
Turn on a little slant there.
yeah.
Just find a window between the heads so you see out well.
Now smile, we have to stand here till we do it right.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
A couple of you, I need to get outside. I did not get your headshot ahead of time. And dog warden and Maya. Okay. If I can get
We have another presentation, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Nope.
Not until, you can move the, if the board so chooses, you can move the staff discussion up before executive session, if you'd like. You can do the agenda.
Hannah's here to do it.
You can move it to wherever you like.
But we can do it now.
You could if you want to.
I guess we are.
Board, if it's all right with you, I'm going to move the agenda item. I'm going to move the staff discussion up to the next issue so that Hannah can do her presentation. Would you like to do that now? Fantastic. Thank you.
Can you hear it? You did turn it on?
I did earlier, yeah.
I thought while we're here, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hear it?
We're good. So, I'm here today, Hannah Lubers with the Adams Clermont Solid Waste District. I'm wearing that hat today. I want to give you guys just a little update on the solid waste planning process because we did ask the Clermont County Commissioners to approve the plan. And I know you all are pretty familiar with what solid waste districts do, unlike probably the rest of the room and other people. But I wanted just to give an update about the planning process itself, since we only do it every 5 years. It becomes kind of unfamiliar, but let's see if the presentation shows up. There it goes. All right. I brought my prop, which is a solid waste plan. So solid waste management districts are required by the state of Ohio because of House Bill 592. All counties must be in one, and the Adams Clermont County District is actually the only non-contiguous multi-county district in the state of Ohio, so a little fun fact there. But our main responsibilities are to manage all the waste generated in the district and divert a lot of the waste from landfills. And that's just a map of all the different districts in the state of Ohio. It's represented by the Board of Directors, which is constituted of the county commissioners, so the Clermont County Commissioners and the Adams County Commissioners, and their responsibility is to implement the plan. And then we also are represented by a policy committee, which has representatives from the public, from private industry, from the townships, and the health districts from each county. And the responsibility of the policy committee is to prepare the plan, which the Board of Directors then implements. And also we do an inventory of all the waste disposal facilities, we do an illegal dump survey, and we do an industrial survey. So we try to survey all the industries in the district. We got a pretty good response rate this time. And we do that with a reference year survey. So we did an industrial survey in 2017, so it's been ongoing for about 2 years now. And then we plan into the future. So we're looking up to 2037. So we have about 19 years of a plan, and we do that long. We do more than 15 years of planning so that we only have to revise this plan every 5 years. If we do less than 15 years of planning, we have to revise it every 3 years. So we'd be constantly revising a plan. And we're one of the few districts in the state that actually writes our own solid waste plan. A lot of people contract that out or hire a consultant. And so we're looking to the past and current, and then projecting that out across up to 2037. We do an inventory of our recycling infrastructure and all of the landfills present. Right now we have 13 different drop-offs. We actually have 27 drop-offs in Clermont County and 13 in Adams County. We used to have a lot more. We lost about 11 drop-offs in the past 10 years due to illegal dumping issues that we've had at our drop-offs. And we work with, it's usually township officials and public property to put our drop-offs there, to site our drop-offs, and people just kind of got tired of all the trash, and we try to keep them clean and do the best that we can, but we can't always keep up on some of it.
And you've added curbside programs.
Yeah, we've
Make
added
up for
some
that.
curbside, and that does help. Unfortunately, we haven't seen a whole lot of reduction in the use of the drop-offs, which we would hope that there would be some. But we are planning to implement a couple new programs that might help with that, because we would like to alleviate some of the use of the drop-offs programs, because it has grown. The cost of that has grown. It's actually about doubled since 2010 when we started the last plan update. And we have gotten a number of curbside collection programs in a few townships recently. Paul went out in a blaze. He got curbside recycling in a few different townships, Williamsburg, Ohio, and Batavia Township. Batavia Township has had some issues with their vendor, though, so I'm not sure if the popularity of that franchising will continue or not, but we'll see. Some of the existing programs that the district runs is we have a waste and recycling center in Adams County. We saw a need out there. There was a lot of illegal dumping because there wasn't a lot of options. It's a very rural area for residents to dispose of trash, so we opened up a transfer facility out there in West Union. And we contract with Adams Brown Recycling to run that facility. We do the drop-off recycling program. We also, one of our very popular programs is we contract with municipal court, and they use alternative sentencing to do litter collection, roadside litter collection, and dump cleanup. And they're a major asset to us. They help out with a lot of things when we need assistance on just things that pop up.
And you might want to just explain that further, because for, just people who live here in Clermont County realize that, that program actually results in people who not are paying their way, but they're contributing to their way as they're here and under the jurisdiction of our sheriff's department here, so.
Right, so they have to do community service when they're convicted of some kind of crime. And what they do is they show up a certain day of the week. They have so many hours they have to log. And they show up and they get assigned to do roadside litter cleanup. They also volunteer for other programs that we do. Like this Saturday, they'll be out at our tire collection event. So they're giving back to the community. This program would probably cost us a lot more if we had to pay people to go out and clean up litter along the roadway. So it's a good program. And we have a number of education programs. We contract with Soil and Water District in Clermont County, and in Adams County we contract with the Adams Brown Recycling. They go out to the schools and run different educational programs, try and institute recycling programs.
And I know you've just went over existing programs, but could you just touch on a second? I've never run into, a lot of people come up with things, household, farm, industrial, where it's kind of a one-off kind of deal. Could you just explain who they notify, who they can call, how that works? They get a voucher.
Definitely. Yeah, one of the things that Kevin and I do a lot of is answer the phone. So people call us when they come across stuff in their house. What do I do with this? What do I do with that? And you would think, I've been here almost 11 years now, and you would think I'd have heard it all, but of some of the things that people call in with, but I haven't. I still hear of new things every day. So people call in and we tell them what to do with it. If they can get rid of it locally, like they can take oil, antifreeze, and stuff like that to the Clermont County Fleet Garage, and they burn it for fuel. So if they can get rid of it locally, we point them in that direction. If it's something that's a household hazardous waste, like fertilizer, we'll send them there. Some fertilizers if it has pesticides in it. Yeah, mostly it's pesticides we get. People call a lot with paint also, but you can get rid of that in your household trash pickup if you dry it out. But if it is actually a household hazardous waste, we send them a voucher, and that serves as payment for that item at Environmental Enterprises, which is located in Cincinnati. These are some other existing programs we have. I won't run through all of them, but one of the big ones that a lot of people aren't aware that we do is we participate in the local emergency planning committee. And when there is a disaster, we help out with debris removal. So there's a picture here of Doug, who runs the municipal court alternative sentencing program. He helped out when we had the 2012 tornado. There was a lot of debris generated down there, and the solid waste district helped run a temporary disposal siting facility until we could get rid of that stuff. So as part of solid waste planning, when we do our inventory, we have to figure out if we're meeting the goal that's required by the state. And one of those goals is called an access goal, where we have to provide at least 90% of the population access to drop off or to the opportunity to recycle. And they have to be able to recycle at least 4 different materials in that program. And right now we're well beyond that requirement of 90% in Adams County, and that's because there's a double counting mechanism in the way that you report that. So we have a lot of drop-offs in West Union, so we get to double count a population of 5,000 for, 5,000 for each one of those drop-offs. In Clermont County, it's dropped from previous years, but we are meeting the goal of 90%. Probably one of the main reasons we're just at 90% is we lost a bunch of drop-offs in Union Township due to the illegal dumping. So there's currently not any drop-offs, public drop-off recycling locations in Union Township. Although residents do have the opportunity to sign up for curbside recycling. Yeah. And we do the access-based goal where we have to provide the 90%, and this looks like a 2-stream system in Adams County and a single-stream drop-off in Clermont County. So residents can recycle everything commingled together in one of those dumpsters. And in 2017, we diverted 39,000 tons in the residential commercial recycling program. So pretty good. And that was about 39% of what was going to the landfills was recycled. So one of the problems I mentioned, the illegal dumping at our drop-off locations. This is a picture, I believe, from the Bethel Save-A-Lot, which we lost that drop-off. We finally got kicked out of that one. There is another local opportunity for Bethel residents. But people, I think it's a combination of people that just aren't aware that not all plastics are recyclable. Rumpke is who contracts our drop-offs in Clermont County, and they only take bottles and jugs for plastics. So not a lot of people are aware of that. Not even the yogurt tubs or butter tubs are recyclable. So I think the solid waste district moving forward, we need to do a better job of getting out there and educating people. I want to improve our website, possibly have an educational campaign, work with the townships on getting that information out there. And after speaking with a lot of the townships recently, I also got that message from the trustees. They think we need to do some more education. The other problem with our drop-offs is it's not people that just don't know or do wish recycling. We have people that are using these as their private dumpsters. They're bringing furniture. I think there's some contractors, landlord tenants that might be bringing mattresses, furniture, and things like that. And they claim that they don't know, but I think they do know. So we hope to possibly work with, and this is not nearly one of the worst.
I noticed they wrapped the mattress in plastic.
Yeah.
Like you were gonna set it out, and
Yeah.
they left the
So maybe that is
motorized
uninformed.
mechanism on there.
Yeah, there's maybe some scrap recycling opportunities there, but I'd like to get some security cameras in place, and hopefully it's probably just a few bad actors, and if we can work with law enforcement, hopefully, and send them some letters of discouragement, then that will hopefully take care of that problem. So. And I mentioned the public roadways cleanup program that we have. They cleaned up over 45,000 tons of garbage in Clermont County in 2017, and that was over 1,500 miles of roadway. So they do a lot of work for us out there. They do a great job. Just recently I was out in Union Township meeting actually Paul for lunch, and I noticed these 5x8 sheets of styrofoam tunneling down the parking lot from Jungle Gyms over towards 32, and I was able to call Doug, and he got someone over there to help them clean that up, because there was about 20 of those things. They were up in the tree. It was a really windy day, and so that was nice to have that done. Some of that stuff could have blown over in 32 and caused some wrecks or something, so they're a nice resource to have. Some of the new programs with this plan that we're looking at doing is having in-school recycling opportunities, so supplying the classrooms and the schools that we're going out and having educational programs with, actually providing and making sure they have the opportunity for those students to recycle. And we've done that this year. We've done that with 2 schools so far, and we're providing them with recycling bins. And then we also hope to try and get a requirement for apartment complexes to offer recycling in their facilities, and we can help out with that if it's needed. And we're hoping that will diminish some of the reliance on our public drop-off sites, because if there's curbside recycling available, then your only other users are commercial or apartment complexes. And then I think one of the big problems with the illegal dumping, or at least I hope so, is that there's not really an opportunity for people to dispose of their trash if they don't have curbside waste collection in the county. So those large awkward items like their furniture and mattresses and things like that, if you don't have curbside collection, you either take it to your township junk days if that's available. Those are only once or twice a year. Otherwise you have to go to Colerain or Georgetown or Covington. So that can be quite an inconvenience for people, and there's often a minimum fee. So been working with a private business to set something up on a trial basis, and hope that works, and should be rolling out here in the next month or 2, and we'll see how that goes. If not, that might be something that we need to look at either doing in-house, or we really want to try and find another private business partner to partner with, so we don't have to do that in-house. And I mentioned earlier partnering with law enforcement on the illegal dumping. So with this plan, we did propose an increase from the $3 a ton of generation fee. That is where our budget comes from. Every ton of waste generated in the district, a $3 fee is collected at the waste disposal facility, so at the landfill. We're proposing to increase that 50 cents to $3.50 a ton in 2020, and potentially increase that again to $4 a ton in 2021. And I don't really foresee us having to increase it to $4 a ton. Ohio EPA kind of required us to change our language in our draft plan that we submitted. We said we would maybe increase it to $4 a ton. They said there can't be any maybes in the plan. So, but we will need to increase it to $3.50 a ton. And a lot of that is just due to the increase in the popularity of the recycling drop-off program. It just continues to go up every year. And it's not just because of the cost of processing those recyclables. It's the popularity increases every year. Even though we got rid of 11 sites, we increase the frequency of servicing and the number of dumpsters at those sites every year.
And there really is a lot of work that goes into sorting and categorizing all of that recycled waste and making sure that each one of those streams goes to the right place.
Yes, yes. And if the commissioners or anyone is interested in going on a tour of Rumpke's facility, I think we're going to try and set one of those up this summer. We're going to do a dual tour of their facility. It's really fascinating what they do. And then Rumpke also updated or just built a new headquarters, a new corporate headquarters, and there's apparently a lot of really neat sustainable building stuff that they used in there. So we're going to duel up on that. I can send an invitation out when we schedule that. In the plan process, where we're at now, we are almost to the finish line. We have until June 14th to submit the final plan, but right now we're in the ratification process where we have to get approval from townships and townships representing over 60% of the population of the district, which we've already gotten approval of that, and then also the two largest municipalities in the district, so West Union and Milford, we've gotten that, and then we have to get approval from the commissioners of each county in the district, so Clermont and Adams County. And then I meet with the policy committee on May 29th, and after we meet with them, if they vote to approve it, then we send it on up to Ohio EPA for review. I think that's it. Yep.
Board, any questions?
Excellent presentation.
Thanks, Amy.
Abraham.
We'll go to item D for public participation. If there's anyone here today representing the public that would like to participate in this meeting, your comments are welcome. If you would please move to the podium here to my right, state your name and address. We would welcome your comments or clarifications. I hear you.
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
My name is Sabrina Schnarenberg. I live at.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Hold on just 1 second. Good. Just to go over the rules. During this time, the board does not answer questions or engage in debate. The commissioners are not expected to comment on matters brought to the board during this time. Each speaker will speak only once and shall be recognized by the board president before speaking. In accordance with the board's rules of procedures, you're limited to 5 minutes. Thanks for coming.
Sabrina Schnarenberg. My address is 3227 Johnson Road, Felicity, Ohio 45120. I came here to introduce myself. My husband and I are both Iraq War veterans. We settled down in Ohio. After we got here, I am a mom of 6. I recently adopted 4 children from, they were homeless, and I am a social worker. I'm also a volunteer grant writer for Franklin Township / Felicity. So far in the past year, I've written for and approved $866,000 worth of grants. I saw that at the last meeting you guys have sent out the CDBG Franklin Township Fire Renovations grant to bid, so I'm very, very excited about that. And in the next year, I'm planning on writing about another $302,000 worth of grants for Franklin Township and Felicity. I happen to be right around the corner. I just put in my bid, my signatures to run for Franklin Township trustee. So I am here to introduce myself as hopefully a Franklin Township trustee for 2020. Okay.
Well, thank
all
you.
I had.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public that'd like to participate? With that, I'll close the public participation and we'll move to item E, consent agenda. Board, a consent agenda has been prepared. I know you've had opportunity to review it. Are there any items that need to be removed for further consideration and discussion?
None.
Sir.
Commissioner Painter, there's just a real quick modification under training and travel, community and economic development. They will be using the staff car. So we can, that total expense for mileage of $354.50, we can zero that.
Last item on 3, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
That's item 3.
Okay.
So the revised total is $357 for registration only?
Correct.
Any other clarifications or requests? With that, I will request a motion for consideration approval on the consent agenda with the correction as noted in item 3.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. We will move to the non-consent agenda. On page number 4, item number 5.
Dominic?
Morning, I'm Dominic Dalton. I'm Program Administrator for the Department of Public Safety, standing in for Mr. Cascaden, who's on vacation. The recommendation of John Cascaden, Director, Department of Public Safety Services, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to approve the request to advertise for proposals for a fire station alerting system for Clermont County, Ohio, pursuant to the specifications therefore, and further to authorize the clerk of the board to place a legal notice in a newspaper of general circulation on 5/30 of 2019 with said proposals to be received until 2 p.m. local time on Thursday, 6/27 of 19 in the office of the Board of County Commissioners, 101 East Main Street, Batavia, Ohio 45103, where they will be publicly opened and read aloud shortly thereafter.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 5. Do I have a motion for consideration of approval?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 6. Hello there, John.
Items 6, 7, and 8 are related, and I asked John to kind of give a brief overview of the 3 before he actually reads the motions.
Sure. So we're going to go over 6 and 7 first. And so what we need to do, first of all, is ratify the 2 grants, because they were never brought in front of the board to be accepted. They were brought in front of the board to be applied for. So that's the first thing that we need to do. The second thing that we need to do on number 6 is create a new activity line item. And essentially what that means is I'm trying to make an activity line item to match the other grant so we can spend that money towards the bus. Because right now I've got 2 different line items, and so the FTA wouldn't let me spend the money from the one line item because it doesn't match. So that's number 6. Number 7 is similar, but what's happened in this grant is we have some leftover funding from a project that we've already closed. So we've already bought all of the vehicles from the activity line item, and we have $22,000 left over. So I want to move that to the proper activity line item so we can spend that on the buses too. So we're just trying to consolidate our funds so we can use all of them. And 8 is a change order to the buses that were agreed to purchase on the 5th of December. And what that is for is it's so they're aesthetically the same as the buses that we already have from Gillig, because we want our fleet to all look the same. And so there were a couple of things in the RFP that didn't match what we have already.
So John, the remaining, it looks like about $600,000 that we won't use, we can still draw that down. That money's still available, or we?
That money will still be available, yep, and that is from number 6. That money will be available when we need to purchase other vehicles in the future. And if it ends up not being in the activity line item we have here, then we'd be able to change that and move it to where we need to.
As long as we're drawing down the grant, they'll keep them open, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as you're seeing some drawdowns, the FTA is satisfied that you were spending your money.
And how many 40-foot buses will we have at the end of this purchase?
4.
Okay,
So-
for two routes.
Yep.
And are we doing 2 buses per route?
No, we're going to be using all 4 buses on the 4X.
I'm sorry.
We're going to be using all 4 buses on the Amelia route.
Okay,
The New Richmond route doesn't have a ridership that would have a 40-foot bus
Okay.
on it.
good.
And then, are there any questions before I read them?
Nope. You
Okay.
can start at item 6.
So, it's a recommendation of myself, the Director of Clermont Transportation Connection, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, that the Board of County Commissioners, Clermont, Ohio, resolve to ratify the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration, Grant Agreement Number OH95X164-00, buy-in between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Transportation Administration, 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20590, heretofore electronically executed and submitted by Lisa Gatwood, former Director of Clermont Transportation Connection, on 7/18/2014, for congestion mitigation air quality funding for the purchase of transit vehicles for the Clermont Transportation Connection, and further to authorize John Raymond, Director, Clermont Transportation Connection, to electronically execute and submit a budget revision to the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration, Grant Agreement OH95X164-00, which represents the addition of an activity line item 11-12-01 to the grant agreement budget and transfers $97,000 from ALI 11.13.01 to 11.12.01, therefore, with said budget transfer to be utilized to partially fund the purchase of 2 heavy-duty transit buses for the Clermont Transportation Connection, in concert with the award of bid and execution of contract for the purchase and delivery of 2 heavy-duty transit buses, therefore, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on December 5th, 2018, with all other terms and conditions of the original grant agreement to remain in full force and effect.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 6. Do I have a motion for consideration of approval?
So moved.
A second?
Been moved and second. Any further conversations or discussions? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item 7.
That's the recommendation of myself, John Raymond, Director of the Clermont Transportation Connection, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, that the Board of County Commissioners, Clermont County, Ohio, resolve to ratify the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration, Grant Agreement Number OH95X130-00, by and between the County of Clermont, Ohio, and the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration, 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Southeast, Washington, D.C., 20590, heretofore electronically executed and submitted by Lisa Gatwood, former Director of the Clermont Transportation Connection, on May 3rd, 2013, for congestion mitigation air quality funding for the purchase of transit vehicles for the Clermont Transportation Connection, and further to authorize John Raymond, Director, Clermont Transportation Connection, to electronically execute and submit a budget revision to the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration, Grant Agreement OH95X130-00, which represents the transfer of $22,327 from ALI 11.12.04 to ALI 11.12.01, therefore, with said budget transfer to be utilized to partially fund the purchase of 2 heavy-duty transit buses for the Clermont Transportation Connection, in concert with the award of bid and execution of contract for the purchase and delivery of 2 heavy-duty transit buses, therefore, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on December 5th, 2018, with all other terms and conditions of the original grant agreement to remain in full force and effect.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 7. Do I have a motion for consideration of approval?
Make that motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further conversations or discussions? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Item number 8.
It's the recommendation of myself, John Raymond, Director of the Clermont Transportation Connection, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to execute change order number 1 to the contract for services with Gillig LLC, 451 Discovery Drive, Livermore, California, 94551, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on December 5th, 2018, for the purchase and delivery of 2 heavy-duty transit buses for the Clermont Transportation Connection, which represents an increase in the amount of $24,822 for additions, deletions, and/or modifications thereto as defined therein, for a total adjusted contract price to date of $891,516, effective for the period of December 5th, 2018 through December 4th, 2020, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and contingent upon the release and receipt of the required purchase order, therefore in concert with requisition 3160 dated 4/19/19.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a recommendation, a motion for approval?
I move that we approve item 8.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Thanks, John. Item number 9. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Today I'm bringing a recommendation of myself, Terry Brandenburg, HR Coordinator, with the concurrence of Suki Sheets, Assistant County Administrator, to adopt a revised table of organization for the Board of County Commissioners to, 1, remove the Fleet Maintenance Division from the current table of organization for the Clermont County Facilities Management Department, and 2, to establish the Clermont County Fleet Maintenance Department under the direct supervision of the Fleet Manager, for which said department shall be under the oversight of the Assistant County Administrator as set forth in Exhibits A and B, attached thereto and made a part thereof, effective May 20th, 2019, and further to authorize and update the appropriate internet links and appendices accordingly.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 9. Do I have a motion for consideration of approval?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
It's been moved and second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Thank you, Terry. Tom, do we have any additions to the agenda today?
Yes, sir.
Then I will move to item number H. Requesting an executive session pursuant to section 121.22, G1 and G3 of the Ohio Revised Code to first consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, or compensation of one or more public employees, and second, to confer with the prosecuting attorney regarding pending or imminent litigation respectively. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call, Judy?
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Thank you. We've moved into executive session. We will return and conduct further business. We are back from executive session. And if there are no other additions to the agenda, we will move to item J under member comments. Board members, any comments or discussions that you'd like to have here in open session today?
None, thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing none, I will move and ask for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Been moved and second. Roll call, Judy?
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Yes. Aye. Sorry.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. That concludes our meeting today for May the 13th, 2019. I hope all you moms had a great weekend this past weekend. Happy Mother's Day to you, even though it's a little belated. Thanks for joining our meeting today, and we'll see you this Wednesday. Thank you.